Hello, and thank you for joining us today for the Save Your Photos Day training number 2. We are excited to welcome a few guest speakers today that's going to bring you some really valuable insight and information into your Save Your Photos Day event. I will say I'm excited to have Tara Claiborne and Don Edens here with me today. We are coming to you from the Forever Home Office, and we're just looking forward to spending some time with you on this call. So let's go ahead and take a look at the agenda that I've laid out for today. First of all, I'm going to start by just welcoming all of you and giving you a brief review of where we are, and then also remind you of where you can find resources for your Save Your Photos Day event. And then I'm going to welcome Deb Cabral. I'm really excited to introduce you all to Deb. She's an incredible leader and will be just so valuable to you in teaching you and showing you and giving you some great training on how you can just do a bang out job marketing events and even creating your own press release. We had many people interested in that last year, so I'm just really excited that Deb's going to be able to spend some time with us and give us her expertise in this area. I'm also excited to have Lisa Webster on the call, who is just done a fantastic job with her Forever business, and she has just been so successful with her workshops and events. She's had a great Save Your Photos Day event last year with more than 50 people, so I want her to just walk you through how she did that and also talk about her event workflow from beginning to end, so you can have kind of an idea of what your event could look like. And then we're going to open up to questions and answers. So I want to remind you that you can use the questions box. I'm going to be putting Tara and Don to work here. They're going to be here assisting and answering any questions that you might have. Feel free to direct your questions to either Deb, Lisa, myself, or Don and Tara if you had a specific question that you wanted to direct to one of those people. That would be fantastic. Or if it's just a basic question, you certainly don't need to direct it to anyone. So let's go ahead and get started with reviewing the homework from last session. So training number 1, we have a list of homework. So these are things that I would expect that you've done by now, or if you haven't, you still have time. You can still work on these things. Also, if you're in this training group, you don't necessarily have to do an event. This might just be a time that you're coming to get your feet wet, check out what's going on with Save Your Photos Day events, and maybe you'll want to do this training another time when you kind of have a good grasp of what this looks like. So don't feel any pressure that you have to be hosting an event if you're in this training, but this is the homework that we laid out for training session number 1. The first one was to decide what your Save Your Photos Day would include. We talked about a variety of things on the first call. Then go ahead and start thinking, mapping out your goals and your objectives for your event. Set the date for your event, confirm your location, and then I just wanted you to begin doing a little education just to kind of be preparing yourself for questions that you might have and setting yourself up really to be the expert in your field and the expert in your area. And that is through education that you will build that confidence to be able to be that expert. So we were just starting off with reading a blog post from August 3rd, which is actually the blog post on the three things that you must know about cloud storage. And that was posted on the Facebook group. And then I also want you to begin thinking about your own personal Forever story. I think beginning these events is really beautiful when you have your own story to share. It's very personable. We all have our own Forever story. We all have something that Forever has impacted us with regards to our memories. So, you know, begin thinking about that and writing that down and kind of knowing that. And then also join the Facebook group. So I'm certain that all of you have done that by now. That's going to be just a good place to communicate as events begin, questions are being asked, and it's just a very positive place for us to post our ideas and things that we might want to share with others. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is just show you the resources that we have available to you. I went the wrong way on my screen. So if you are on the Ambassador training page, and you can get to that through your back office, you can see it right here. All you need to do is go over to Events and then down to Save Your Photos Day. So that is where we keep all of the Save Your Photos Day resources. You can see here that we have 2 documents. In fact, we're actually updating this right now, so it will include the cloud storage blog post that we mentioned to you. And let me refresh, maybe it's, because I know Don was busy working on this. Oh, there it is, it refreshed. Great job, Don. Okay. So I take that back. Now we have Save Your Photos Day blog posts. We've got the one on cloud storage and the one called You Have a Photo Plan. So one of your homework assignments for this session is to read the second blog post, Do You Have a Photo Plan? So here they are so that you can read both of those. We do have this video that Nick Kelch and I did last year, so that's available to you as well. And then here are some of the images and downloads that are available. So as you can see, you have access to the Save Your Photos Day logos that you can use in your advertising, in your marketing, on your Facebook pages, sending out shout outs, in Facebook to people, letting them know about your event. And then right here is an actual marketing piece. So last year, our ambassadors created their own marketing pieces to be marketing their event. And we decided to go ahead and create one that was very simple, that you could simply just add your information to if you like it. You don't have to use this. It's just one that's branded beautifully and really includes the heartbeat of Save Your Photos, which is scan, upload, preserve, and share. So if you want to use that, feel free to download it, add your information to it, and print it out, or as a flyer, or use it as a digital image. One thing I do want to reiterate, we talked about this last week, that for this type of an event, you really need to take off your forever ambassador, forever salesperson hat and set that down. And in this event, you are the expert, you are the leader, you are the one who is educating people on how they can preserve their memories, how they can go to the attic and get that box and take care of that box, and all of the information that's out there as far as different places that they can go. So it isn't that you really consider sharing forever with them kind of till the end. So I always suggest not to put forever logos on your marketing piece, not to arrive to your Save Your Photos Day event even with your forever tablecloth. This is not a forever sales event. This is not like you're working at a booth or you are doing some kind of a trade show and you're talking about forever. Now, certainly we're going to talk about forever. We're going to educate them on forever. We're going to educate them on all the different places that they can put their photos. And then you'll let them know, I am an ambassador with this company. I believe in this company. It's the only company that is providing a permanent solution to preserving your photos and your memories. And of course, then you're going to share about forever at the end of your presentation. But it's really meant to be educational and not like a forever sales event. So that's why the invitation that you see here does not have a forever logo on it. And that is our recommendation, that you don't put forever logos on your marketing pieces. Okay, the other thing is, and we'll talk about this more on the next call, but this is a good workflow as far as if you are scanning photos and returning those photos in a forever account. So that's just something to think about. That's a fantastic tool to offer at your event, is if you do have a scanner and you are able to bring your scanner, and Lisa will hit on this a little bit, that you can offer people to bring a few photos that you'll scan for them. And then the workflow should be scanning them and putting them into a free forever introductory account, as opposed to giving it back to them on a flash drive. That's not going to be really helpful to them if it's just on a flash drive. But being able to upload into Forever, upload the Forever app, show them their scanned photos right on their phone, then that's going to bring significant value to your event, and they're going to feel like they walk away receiving an incredible gift. So if you're not sure how that process works, that's where the workflow is, and you can always print that out. To the left, we also have a sign-in sheet so that you could, have these people, when they come in, give you a little information about themselves, their name and their email address, and a way for you to reach out to them. And then there's different questions underneath they could check as far as what their interest is. So this is what we have available to you to use. If you have other ideas or other things that you would like Forever to supply you with, we're happy to consider that. So please just share your thoughts with me. Now, here are some other things that you'll definitely want to have. You may want to have at your event. You go to Ambassador Info and then Forms and Files. This is a place that you could go to get like maybe the Forever Overview handout that has the 5 things about Forever, and then the workflow circle. And maybe you might want to have a TriPro brochure to hand people at the end if they're interested. But just keep in mind that you can go here to find all kinds of resources. And then certainly also any image downloads that you might want to check out that are just with regards to Forever, but not necessarily Save Your Photos Day. Okay, so I am going to switch back over here and have the privilege to introduce to you to Deb Cabral, who I will say Deb Cabral has become a good friend of mine, and I'm just so excited that we met years ago at the APO conference, the first APO conference that Forever attended is the gold sponsor, and APO is the Association of Personal Photo Organizers, and they have just been really instrumental in Forever and how we've grown our offering here at Forever. And one of the wonderful benefits is I get to meet Deb, and she is a Forever member, Forever lover, Forever supporter, and she just shares Forever wherever she goes. And we are just so thankful for her and her partnership with Forever. We've had a partnership with Deb for many years, and she talks about us many times on her television shows. So I'm excited to tell you a little bit of background about Deb, and I'm going to do this quickly. Believe me, her list is long as far as her credentials go, but I just wanted to give you a brief little synopsis of Deb. So she launched her company in 2010. It's called the Declutter Coach, and her company includes Declutter Coach Efficiency Consulting, which offers corporate training and consulting. That's what she's going to give us a little bit today, a little bit of corporate training. She has a 30-minute national television show that airs in 16 states called Organization Motivation. And she has a segment called Organized in 60 Seconds, which offers organizational tips on a variety of morning TV programs aired in 20 different states. So she is a certified photo organizer and member of APO. She also is in the Gold Circle Leadership volunteer status of NAPO, which is the National Association of Personal Organizers. And I am just really proud to say that she won an award this year, 2017 Distinguished Entrepreneur Award, presented by Syracuse University Whitman School of Management. So I was really proud of her for that. So she's a great, successful person. She's also an author and has a book called Declutter Your Life Now. So I am excited to introduce to you Deb, and looking forward to all of the great information that she has to share with you today. Go ahead, Deb.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Wow, that was an introduction. Shelley, I am so excited. Shelley is like my forever sister. So we have become very good friends, and Shelley's been here to visit me, and I'm in upstate New York, and I've been to Forever many times to visit Shelley in Pittsburgh. So I'm really excited to be on this call today. So Save Your Photos Day is always a great event. It's a great time of the year to really help grow your Forever business and to meet the needs and help people solve a problem, because that's what this is all about. And as a photo organizer and a professional organizer myself, many folks that I have met will say to me, well, you know, Deb, I wish I needed your service, but you know, my closets are organized, my kitchen's organized. And then I ask them about their photos. And that's really where I've been able to grow my business, is because people that are otherwise organized in their life are usually not in their photos. So it's a great opportunity. Yeah. If you are also a professional organizer and a photo organizer, it's a great way to meet a whole new, arena of people that could use your services. So I want to talk a little bit about marketing yourself and marketing your event. I love to speak about marketing, and I love to work with entrepreneurs, whether they're early in their career or they've been an entrepreneur for many years. So as Shelley said, I started my business in 2010. I had many, many years in the corporate arena, but when you own your own business, it's a much different, workflow and a much different life than if you're going to work for a company every day. So one of the things that you really want to do is make sure that you are setting yourself up to be an expert in the field of photo organizing, an expert in the field of photo preservation. And you say, okay, Deb, well, how do I do that? Well, here's how you do it. Number one, you've got to know your industry. You've got to really do all your research. You have to find out everything you can. You should know every in and out there is to know about Forever. You want to find out about the partners that Forever works with. You want to find out about, any other things having to do with photo organizing. You really want to know your stuff, because in order to market yourself as an expert, you have to be an expert. And so people sometimes get nervous. Well, I'm not an expert. If you have done all your research and you know your product and you know your service very well, then guess what? You are an expert. And so you have the solution to people's problems with their photos. So basically what you need to do is just get that confidence to be able to present yourself as an expert. So I'm going to tell you that marketing and publicity are key to the success of your event and also your business in general. You've got to start to get comfortable promoting yourself and your business. And for a lot of people, that is difficult, especially if you don't have a more outgoing personality. You're like, oh, I don't really know how I'm going to do this. It all takes confidence, and all it takes is practice. So the best thing that you can do to start is have what we call your 2-minute elevator speech. So that is basically 2 minutes that you can go up and meet someone at a networking event, at a family picnic, at school when you're dropping your kids off, and you can very eloquently and very transparently and really very naturally talk about what you do. So it's always important to make sure that you are, comfortable with what you're saying and practicing at home. So I do have a little bit of a more outgoing personality, but I still was a little nervous when I started my business. Like, I've got to get this elevator speech, and what can I do? So I worked with a lot of people that were in business longer than me. So it's always great to seek out mentors. And I mentor a lot of people myself, and I have had mentors. So a mentor is really somebody that can kind of honestly give you an opinion and say, you're doing really great, but try this. And so that's really important. But your elevator speech is really important. You've got to be able to narrow down in 2 minutes, what do you do? And for photo organizers, you can say, my passion is helping people, organize their family memories so that they can share them with generations to come, which is what Forever does. You can expand on that a little, but you've got to be comfortable with that elevator speech. And it all starts there, because if you can't eloquently state what you do and why you do it, and that you have passion about it, it's going to be hard to get people to want to follow you and want to be a part of what you're doing. So the elevator speech is important. Number 2, get out there and do some networking. Networking is the best way to grow your business and promote your event, your Save Your Photos Day event. So try, first of all, starting letting existing customers know. Let your family and friends and neighbors know that you're having an event. It's hard to spend a lot of money marketing when you first start a business, but I'm here to tell you that if you invest money in your business, it will come back to you 100-fold. When I started my business, 7 years ago, I did not have a lot of money to start with, but I really invested in good quality marketing material. I invested in working with a graphic designer so that everything that I put out there looked really professional. And so if you can get yourself a small little budget to put together a really nice handout, a lot of things Forever can provide to you as well, but you want to have really good marketing pieces. So I remember the first year I did like a very small, inexpensive postcard about Save Your Photos Day that I had, created really inexpensively by a local graphic designer. And I went to either my local printer, or you could go to Vistaprint and get a bunch of those made. I mean, you could go to, Vistaprint and get, 500 of them for like $20. So it's not a big investment. And have those cards with you. These inexpensive little postcards, everywhere you go, you can give them out to people that you see. You can put them up in grocery stores, libraries, gyms, coffee shops, wherever you go. You want to talk about your event. And again, it's not about selling, as Shelley said earlier. This is about providing a service that people need. You are a problem solver, and you can help them solve their problems and be the solution. So don't think about, I don't want to push people, I'm not selling. There is no cost. These events are free to attend. You are there to be the expert and to educate people. And then hopefully they will trust you and then become your customer. But do not be afraid to, reach out and invite people and talk to everybody that you know, and put these either little cards. I also went kind of a step further and made little posters that we put up in a bunch of, places all over the city that I live in, so that people would see them. I put them in high traffic areas like grocery stores and, restaurants that I knew were really well attended, and it really does work. Don't forget about social media. Obviously, social media is so big and so powerful, and this is another great way that you can help promote not only the event, but your business in general, and ask your family and friends to share with you. Post it and say, would you do me a favor? Can you share it with your, group of friends, so that the more people that you get out, the better results you're going to have. And you remember that if you want to have a lot of people come to an event, you have to invite hundreds to have 25 to 50 to show up, because many people will say they'll come, or they might even register an event and then they get busy and they don't come. So you want to really invite the most people that you can, so that you do have a good turnout. The one thing I do want you to think about, it's not always about the quantity of people in the room, it's about the quality. So you may have an event that you only have 10 people, but if all of those 10 people become your customer, then you've had an amazing event. Or you could have an event where 50 people come and only 5 people become your customer. That's still a great event, but you see where I'm saying it isn't always about the quantity of people that come to your events. It's about if they're really interested in making a decision to work with somebody to help them manage their photos. So think about that, and always, again, be positive. If your first event is not what you had hoped, there's always other events that can be scheduled. The other thing I want you to start consider is stepping up out of your comfort zone and thinking about doing some writing, doing some speaking, and really being an advocate for photo organizing. And you say, oh, I don't know if I could do that. I'm nervous. Well, you know what? You're not going to have growth unless you reach a little bit and step out of what you're comfortable with and do something different. So for example, you can write a little blog or a little article to put in a local newspaper. You can also contact local radio stations or TV stations. Now, if you're in a smaller area, it's much easier to get on television. If you live in a big area like Chicago or New York or LA, that's almost impossible. But if you live in a smaller area like I do in upstate New York, it was really very easy for me. My very first time I was able to get a television interview because, to be honest, I love it here. There's not a lot going on in upstate New York. I'm originally from Long Island, and so it's a lot different up here. And they were looking for interesting people and interesting stories to put on the news. So don't discredit yourself. Don't think, oh, I'm not made for TV. They're always looking for interesting people that have solutions to problems. And we all know that people have problems with their photos. So to start off, when you're talking about doing some writing, practice, maybe write a blog yourself and put it on your own website or on your own social media site, so you can start to get some practice and get some feedback from the people that know and love you and are already following you. Then reach out to small local papers. I started with our local little penny saver. I don't know if you have that in other areas of the country. It was a really small, local newspaper, and I loved it. I wrote there for many years. And then I got asked to write for our big newspaper in the Utica, New York area. And now I have a column every week. But I didn't start there. I started writing really small, little articles in my local newspaper. Also, do you have regional magazines? There's a lot of different women's magazines or little lifestyle magazines. There's parenting magazines. Reach out and see if you can write for them or if they'll post your event in their community event section. The other thing is speaking. Now, I remember when I first started speaking early in my career in the insurance industry, I joined a company or an organization called Toastmasters. Many of you may have heard about it. And Toastmasters is a place where you can learn how to be a good speaker for fear and not have fear. Everybody's very comfortable. They're going to help you. I remember standing up, in my early 20s for my first Toastmasters meeting. And when I get nervous, I get hives all over my neck. So that's pretty embarrassing because then everybody knows that you're nervous. It's not like people that have sweaty palms or things like that. But I was able to, over the years, really overcome that fear. And now I love to do public speaking. I speak a lot at conferences all over the country, and I really enjoy it. But it wasn't something I was really comfortable with in the very beginning. So I really challenge you to go out and try something new and just speak in front of your family and friends and get the hang of it so that you really feel comfortable. And then really start to think about, can I do this and get myself in a television situation or on a radio interview so that I can promote my event and promote my business. The other thing that's a really great thing to do if you're wanting to start speaking and you're afraid of bigger groups is go to local mom groups or women's groups or the Rotary or a church group, or even offer to do speaking at your local PTA. These are going to be, welcoming people that are going to be happy to hear about what you do and want to learn all about photo organizing. And again, you're the expert. So you do know more than probably everybody in that room. So that should help you at least get a little bit more comfortable. The next thing that I would suggest that you do is try to form, especially in conjunction with Save Your Photos Day, is try to form strategic partnerships with some other local companies. For example, last year I did a strategic partnership with a local law firm that does estate planning. So people that are looking to plan their end of life things are also very interested in also organizing their photos. So we did a really cool joint event last year. You could partner with a photographer that's local. You could partner with a variety of different companies that would really maybe be a benefit and even share the spotlight with you, or maybe they would also like to have a vendor booth and share any costs that are associated with having your event. The other thing that Shelley really wanted me to talk to you about is press releases, because doing a press release is really a great way to get your message out. And anyone can send a press release, but it starts with getting and creating a media contact list. So a media contact list is simply doing a lot of research and finding out all the local TV stations, radio stations, newspapers, magazines, whatever it might be, all of those contact people so that when you have an event going on, you can really, be able to send them information, and hopefully they will publish it about you. So if you live in a smaller area, believe me, you will be very successful at this very quickly. If you live in a very large market, it might take multiple times before you get any press from it, but start it. It's a great investment of your time to figure out who are these contact people at all these different radio, TV, magazines, newspapers, and send them your press release. So we're going to talk really quickly because I don't want to take up time. Lisa is next, and she's awesome. So the next thing we're going to talk about quickly is, well, how do I write a press release? Well, number one, you want to make sure that it's short and sweet. I recommend it's always one page. People are busy. They don't have a lot of time. They want to get to the information that you have to offer. And if they like it, they're going to publish it or they're going to talk about it. So you want to make sure that it has all the relevant information, including the event date, the time and location. I remember getting a press release from somebody once and it didn't even have the location. So you want to make sure that you really make sure that you've got everything, and you even have somebody look at it and proof it for you. So all that information has to be there. And I recommend that you send it at least 6 weeks before your event, because again, media folks are really busy. You might have to send it twice to really get them to, listen and pay attention, but you want to make sure that you send all that information short and sweet, and do not forget your contact information, your name, your website if you have one, your email address, and your phone number. And the most important thing is you've got to follow up with these folks. Don't send it once and think, well, they're going to write about me or they're going to post about me. You've got to follow up. And you really have to take the time to get and develop relationships. This is what's been really helpful in my business, is develop relationships with people in the media, and then they're going to rely on you as their go-to people. And they're going to call you when they have a question about photos, whether it's Save Your Photos Month or it's graduation or it's wedding or it's Christmas. They're going to say, oh, that person is my go-to expert on photos, and you want to become that person. So we're going to quickly I think we have it, it'll be posted in the Facebook group. Oh, we do have it here too, great. This is a press release that I did back in 2014, just to show you what one looks like. You want to start off, again, on your company letterhead if you have one. If not, create one very inexpensively. You want to talk about the fact that you're offering a free seminar as part of International Save Your Photos Day. There's a little paragraph about, the company or me. Then there's the event detail, and you notice they're in bold. The most important thing is, where's the event? How do I get there? What's the time and date? Then we have a little bit more information about the actual event and about Save Your Photos Day. Back in 2014, it used to be called the Save Your Photos Alliance. And then there's a little bit of information about my company, but then again, look what's in bold again, how they can reach me. So really short and sweet. Anybody in the media who has anything to do with media that can read this and say, oh, this is something really interesting. So this is just a quick example on how to write a short, quick press release. These everything I talked about today, we're going to put up a document on the Facebook page, and we'll also share this press release as well. So if you have any questions, if you could just type them in the chat box, and towards the end, I'd be happy to answer any individual questions that you may have. So that is my short, quick 20-minute, how to promote yourself.
Thank you. Excellent. Thank you so much, Deb. That was just such valuable information. I really, really appreciate you taking time out to share with the Forever Ambassadors about all of these things. Last year, I feel like I had some gaps in the marketing piece, and that was some of the suggestions that came through, helping them to understand how to market their events, how to market themselves, how to do a press release. Woo. And so that was really fantastic that you were able to step up and share your expertise there. So thank you. I learned a lot as well.
Good. I'm so happy to do it.
Right. Thank you. Deb's right. I'm going to post her bullet point notes that she worked from, that she sent to me. And I'm also going to post her actual press release if you would like to have a copy to kind of use as a template to write one for yourself. Both of those right there in the Facebook group. So if you would like to get your hands on that, be sure that you check there after this call. Okay, we're going to turn our attention now over to a good friend of mine, Lisa Webster, who is just a really great person and has become a great friend of mine as well. Lisa is a business owner, and she's been in business for 15 years. She has a company called Grand Scale Video Productions, and she's based right here in Pittsburgh. So I am super excited to get to spend time with her occasionally and helping with different events. She's always hands-on, Jack, if I need help with things with regards to Forever and events and things like that. So just to give you a little information about Lisa, she has been in business for 15 years, but for the last 10 years, she's really been specializing in custom video slideshow creation. And I will just give a shout out that she and her business was so helpful to me when I had to create a slideshow this year for my daughter's 5th grade graduation. I just was really, really excited and thankful to have such a great connection with Lisa Webster because it was incredible. And I got lots of compliments, but I did let them know that it was not me that produced it. So thank you, Lisa. She actually, for the last 2 years, has been helping families organize and save their life stories through Forever. So we've been really excited to have her on board with Forever here as the Forever Ambassador. She is just really passionate about community involvement, and she's known for hosting workshops and giving presentations and bringing professional training, education, and awareness about memory preservation to her community. She cares very deeply for each of her clients. She builds relationships and helps them create their own photo legacy. So I was asked Lisa to join us today so she could talk a little bit about her event from last year. I think she just really did a really fantastic job and during the whole thing, the entire process of setting up her event, finding a location, making a relationship with the person in charge there, and then doing the event and then following up. So I just thought it would be really valuable to have her come on, share kind of her workflow, what she did as an example to each of you as what your event may look like should you choose to kind of design it in this way. So Lisa, are you there?
I am here, Shelley.
Fantastic.
Thank you so very much. Oh, thank you for that beautiful introduction, Shelley. It's just such an honor to be here, and I'm so excited for everyone to be on this call. Thank you for taking the time, because this is truly worth your time doing, really worth your time going through this training that Shelley has provided for us, because she does such a phenomenal job, and it's so, we really can gain so much information. If you've done one of these before, that is fantastic. You will learn, great pieces of information. If you haven't, jump on, get on board early, get excited, because this can really launch your business. So thank you so much, Shelley. Shelley has been so instrumental in helping me in my business. She has been such a great friend, such a great supporter. There's always so much enthusiasm from her, and we all know and love Shelley. So thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, and just for being a great supporter of my business and really helping me to feel comfortable with Forever. And of course, being here in Pittsburgh, that is a tremendous perk of having Forever here right in my backyard. So I'm so grateful for this company and for the direction of all the leaders, and for Dawn, and for Tara that's on the call as well today. And also to thank Deb for that amazing presentation. Thank you. That was just amazing. I learned so much, and you have such an exciting way about you and so much enthusiasm. I had a chance to meet Deb last year at Live. I was so thrilled to go to Live. If you have not been, again, one of the things that you need to put on your checklist, put on your bucket list, because I believe that my Save Your Photos Day event and going to Live were huge turning points in my business last September, and they actually coincided pretty much within days of one another. So I went to Live, turned around 2 days later, and had the Save Your Photos Day event. So thank you, Deb, for that. Congratulations on all of your successes. You are just a go-getter gal, and we just love what you're doing. So thank you for being here today and sharing what you're doing in your business and helping all of us. So I would love, oh, you're welcome. I would love to go through and share what I did for my Save Your Photos Day event last year. I just made it a point that I was going to do this. I began to watch all of the information that was coming through from Shelley and with APO, and I really said, you know what, this is a really great way to really give back to your community. And that's exactly what it is. And Shelley and Deb have mentioned that this is an educational forum for your clientele, the people that you don't know, your people in your community, to really reach out, let them know what you do, let them know that there are solutions available for saving their photos. And there's so many ways to save our photos, as we know. We can do scanning, we can do books, we can do videos, we can use Forever, we can organize. So the possibilities are endless. So whatever your niche in the photo organizing world, let your community know. Be out there, be networking, show them that you do have solutions and that you're more than willing to come alongside them and help. So the very first thing that is very important is setting this location. And I believe that you're going to want to really partner with somebody that's going to give you a hand in this production. And I do call it a production because there were so many hands that were available to help me, and that I really appreciated everybody being, on board, because when you have a group of 53 people, you need lots of hands. But having your location somewhere where somebody is going to help you to promote is going to be very beneficial. So you can go to a library, you can do a community center, you can do smaller venues, but with a larger venue such as a library, again, you're going to get the ear of many people that have great connections. So that's why I opted to go for a library situation. These events do not have to be large and grandiose in size. They can be smaller events, they can be coffee shops. It's all in what you feel comfortable with. Again, getting out there and sharing what you do, and they can be every month. I know that we're really kind of gearing Save Your Photos Day event to monthly events. That's something that can go on year round, so that if you're connecting with a host such as a library and they really love your message and what you're doing, they're going to be very receptive to having you come back for for follow-up events and future events. And I think that's really important, is just to be out there, whether it's 10 people or 20, whatever the size scale is that you're continuing to educate and to really build and grow your business. Whenever you're setting that location and having it somewhere and you're connecting with the person that is in charge, that is a huge part of the process. Building a relationship with the director in a community center or a library is something that is very, very important, because that person, again, is going to be taking that information and she is going to be excited about it. He or she is going to be excited about it and really run with that program, sharing it with not only the staff, but people that come into the library. And she will also know people in the community to help you to get this word out and to advertise. So that building of the relationship was huge for me. I was connected with the director very early on. I think I met with her sometime in July, and I laid this thing out to a T. And I mean, I had bullet points left and right for this gal, and she was really very appreciative that she knew what was going to be happening step by step in the library. And when you have a library, you have to know the rules and the regulations of what they'll allow and, kind of what's taboo and what you're really not allowed to do. But with mainly usually with libraries and community centers and things like that, of course, it is more of educational. They do not want any type of selling that's going on. And that's okay, because we're not there to sell. We are definitely there to educate. So that's the first thing, is building that relationship with the person that is going to be helping you. And also the people that are going to be helping in that event. I also built a great relationship with two of the other women that were there at the library that were going to be helping that evening, and they were very instrumental in getting us set up and helping us, and they were just a wonderful resource to have on my side. So that was the first thing. So then going forward, then we talked about having additional value that's in your event. And so consider other offerings. So Deb had touched upon this, and this is a great way to do your event. I believe that bringing in other offerings and other value, again, brings just such a great presence to your industry and people that are connected with your industry. So it could be photographers, it could be framers, it could be somebody from the genealogy society, it could be somebody from your local history center that you might want to bring in. Anybody that has, that we could lend value to what you're doing in your event. And it just kind of creates this wonderful kind of, fair type of a feel where people are getting great value. They're getting a lot of different information from the people that are there. And again, it feels like that you really want to give the value to the community by offering those different things in there. So things that you can, let's go to preparing your agenda. So again, I laid out exactly what I was going to offer in this event. So I offered free scanning. I had these other vendors that were going to be available to come in. I prepared what presentations were going to be given that evening and how long the presentations were going to be. So it was, really down to the minute as far as how this thing was going to go. I opened up the doors very early because initially when I began to scan, I thought, if there's a line of people waiting to be taken care of for scanning, then I wanted to give them enough time just to come in and just to talk with the other vendors and just kind of ask questions, and it was just a social time. So it was about 45 minutes worth of social time before the actual event started. And actually this was a very good practice because there was a lot of people that just were really asking a lot of questions. We had Shelley there, we had Elizabeth there from the home office, and so we were able to give a lot of great value even before the event started. We had a woman from the Heinz History Center here in Pittsburgh. I had a photographer and a framer. So it was just a great time for everybody to get some additional information from those vendors. So preparing that agenda is important. Know what you're doing so that you can start on time and that you can finish on time, and that you can be respectful to the people that are offering that space to you. And then you have enough time for questions and answers at the end, and just to really kind of wrap things up. So promoting and marketing your event. Again, Deb touched on this beautifully, and there's so much great information there. I really used the library to my advantage. Again, having this connection with the director, she was able to give me connection to somebody that would write for one of our local papers. And she said, I think that they would really love to pick up this story, because it was, again, more like a photography kind of affair. I was shocked when they picked up the interest in it, because the woman on the phone, we didn't meet, but she interviewed me on the phone, and she said, tell me exactly what you're doing. She wrote down a couple of points, and I'm thinking, this is going to be a great little blurb in the paper, but here it ended up being a half page of an ad. So I think that was something that really helped to take the event and kind of put it over the top. When we initially started it, we had about, it was 17 and it was about 32. I just really kept working with the director, calling people, sending out emails, really, talking to everybody about the event that I would come in contact with. Like Deb said, just really let people know, be so excited. Your genuine enthusiasm for these events is going to go a long way, and it's going to really show people that you're excited about what you're doing, and that you really want to share this within your community. So promoting it, that's a lot of what I did was through the library, on my own, and then having somebody's ear at the paper was a wonderful thing, because when I came back, then that's when this kind of thing I really said to Shell, hey, I think I'm going to need some help here. That's when it kind of really blew open. And just keep an eye on your RSVPs, because you really need to know how many people are going to be invited, how much, promotional pieces that you're going to need as far as, sign-up cards, things of that nature. So you want to know your RSVPs going into your event and be prepared for those kinds of things. The workflow of the event is something that, again, put it on paper and know bullet point by bullet point what you're going to do with that event. I had lots of help with this event. I had many, many hands. I had people from the library. I had family and friends. I had people from the Forever Home Office, which was so gracious to come in and help me. I had just people that really were excited about doing this, and it was just a great collaborative effort. So find additional help if you think you're going to need it. I had people in the beginning. I did offer the scanning, so I had people in the beginning going through with the participants that would come in and actually have them kind of really get their photos in order, so that everything was kind of, heads up, and all the photos were in the right direction, so that when they came to me to scan, everything was in the proper order. I also had a form that they could fill out just to give an idea that, what kind of photo, how many photos I had. So it was just kind of a release form for their photos, because a lot of people had to wait in line, and I had everybody put their photos in a bag along with the release form. And so that way I knew, what photos belonged to which person. I would highly recommend, if you are scanning, This is just something that I learned from last year. I offered 50 free scans to people, and I would not do that many. I would probably say, you know, maybe 15 to 20 scans. And if you're going to do, and do high-speed scanning only, this is not something where you want to do a flatbed situation, which I did, and that took an amazing amount of time, so you definitely learned from that. But you want to set up some stations as well. If you are going to have some additional people, make them feel very welcome, that they have, you know, the time that they're coming to commit to your event. So have a little table for them to have a station, and have their own business being set up there, and so that they can give their information when people come and walk by. So that's what I did with the stations. And then we were, the free scanning that I had offered as well, really kind of gave the draw. So if you do that, it's a wonderful thing. You do not have to scan, but it is a great draw. People love to have their photos scanned. And then, of course, with the scanning, that brought people into Forever. And that was just a natural flow. It was a natural segue to Forever. Everybody that wanted to have their photos scanned received a free account with Forever, and then their photos were put in there for them. And then I did a follow-up event to actually share about using Forever for those that were interested. There were 2 speaking presentations that were available that evening, and so it gave a lot of value. And then there were time for questions and answers. And so everyone really, I think when they came, they enjoyed everything that they heard, and it gives them an idea that there is a plan out there for their photos, and that was the whole focus, was having a plan for their photos. Again, we did a follow-up event, which was held at that very same library, and again, they were very gracious to let us have the follow-up event, and I did walking through a Forever account for those people that were interested, and so I would definitely recommend doing a next event, always doing a next event whenever you're doing any kind of community outreach, because people want to know, what do you have on your calendar next? Where can I be? Where can I see you? What do you have to offer? You know, what can I learn? Even if it's, you know, in your home or whatever, have something that's available for a follow-up so that they can get additional information on what you do as a business and additional information on what Forever provides.
Excellent.
So,
Lisa,
thank you
so much. You just really have shined a light on your event, and I hope that it's just really helpful to everyone out there who's considering doing an event. So thank you for being so specific and oriented when sharing. I do know that we have a question about what the 2 speaking presentations were, and I think I can answer that because it's kind of funny. So like you said, we had come from Forever Live, and you were not expecting 50 people at this event, and you were a little stressed with regards to scanning all of these photos for everyone and weren't sure how you were going to do it. So I said, well, I'll come and speak, and that'll take that off your plate. So one of the speaking presentations was me, and I was simply giving the Save Your Photos Day PowerPoint presentation. Now, I will say that Save Your Photos Day produced a PowerPoint presentation last year that everyone could use, but I adapted it and included some things about Forever in it and some things about permanent cloud storage, and showed that as an option. And that is going to be our next training, is going through that slide presentation. And it will not be exactly the same as last year. So if you have those slides from last year, that will be tweaked and more up to date and current with this year, and a little bit different in case you have people coming back to the event. So one of those speaking presentations was me, but it certainly could have been Lisa, or it could have been any of you just doing those slides. The second presenter was a guest speaker from the Heinz History Center in Pittsburgh. Isn't that right, Lisa?
Yes, that is correct.
Yes, and so she brought value and some good information, a presentation on some of the Pittsburgh history. So that was a creative person to invite, and it also brought a draw as well. So anyways, thank you, Lisa. I'm going to move through. I appreciate your time and your thoughts.
Thank you, Shelley.
So absolutely. Now, if you guys have any questions, I know that a few are coming in. Remember to direct who you want to direct them to. And then I'm going to finish up here, and then we'll go ahead and take the Q&A. So I just want to remind you, we did talk about this a number of times, that this Save Your Photos Day event is an event where you're educating the public. That's really important, that you're the expert and you're giving an education. and it's not necessarily the Forever Sales event, but we are going to incorporate Forever. That is the part, that is the beautiful thing is people have a problem, and Forever offers a perfect solution. It offers a place for permanent cloud storage. So certainly during this event, we do want to offer them the opportunity to utilize Forever as the solution. We're not necessarily selling something because they can just use a free Forever introductory account and then understand it and use you as a resource, and then hopefully they will become a permanent member down the line. But I just want to show you a couple ways to reiterate how you would incorporate Forever into your event, something to be thinking about between now and our next training session. Number one, remember you are the educator. You're educating the public on the truth of cloud storage, on permanence, on managing their cell phone photos. I mean, that right there is a huge piece. If your event was simply with regards to cell phone photos, I think you'd still get a great turnout because it's a hot topic and people need a solution there. Another thing is educating them about different places to go to get their items scanned. There's differences between different places to scan. Now you can use Forever Media Conversion Services, and we'll talk about why that is a good option, because once it's scanned one time, it goes into the permanent Forever account, and then it will continue to be digitally migrated to new file formats over time. So they only scan it one time, but 100 years from now, they'll still be able to see the image. If they use another scanning service, it'll just let them know they're going to have to keep scanning over and over again every time the file format changes. Also, I do recognize that some of you are scanners. Some of you do some scanning, and you offer that as a service. So if that's the case, that's fine. You could offer your own services to them at these events. We're certainly going to be talking about Forever Media Conversion Services as an option as well. Okay, also we mentioned utilizing the free Forever introductory accounts for anyone that is getting some scanning done. Even if you don't have a scanner and you're not doing scanning, you could offer something very creative with regards to the cell phone, with regards to going ahead and setting up their free introductory account just to manage their cell phone photos. That would be a great giveaway and a piece of education at your event. And there it is, just download the Forever phone app. And then also, another way to incorporate Forever at your events is just to simply gather their information and send a thank you note along with maybe the Forever overview video, or a video that would shine some light and let them know how Forever can be a solution to all of their photo needs. Also, you could give them information on scanning services for their printed photos, and also future events that you may have that you will help them walk through any part of the Forever process, whether it is scanning or organizing in a Forever account, or even creating a beautiful photo project in Forever Artisan. All of these things are connected together, and Forever gives you the entire platform of services and products to be able to do all things photos. So your homework for this training session is as follows. So number one is go ahead and create a marketing piece for your event. And again, I showed you where the template could be. You could grab off of the training site if you want to just put your information on that, or feel free to make your own marketing piece. Just remember to keep Forever logo off of that piece, and just keep the Save Your Photos Day up there on that piece. Also begin following what Deb said and determine your marketing strategy that's unique to your goals. Are you going to see about getting some speaking engagements at some of the local community events? Are you going to maybe begin writing a couple articles and seeing if you can get those published? Maybe you've decided that you want to go ahead and do a press release and try to get on TV and try to be part of a morning show segment. You've got a great offering with your business. So be the expert and recognize that you can do all of these things. Step up and own it. Also, you might want to consider inviting partners to partner with you at your event. Lisa did a good job explaining how that really benefited her. Also, begin networking and inviting guests to come to your event. So now you're going to have the place, you're going to have the invitation, and now you can start handing it out to people and inviting people to come to your event. Definitely invite your list of friends and family and people that you know, but then also reach out to people you don't know. This is a public-facing event, so it's nice to have people that you know coming to support you, but also try to get out to that other layer, and getting on a morning show or any kind of the media like that, a radio show, any of that will be a good way to reach out to the public. Next is, we talked about this last time, but just continue working on your personal Forever story. articulating that so that you can articulate your story. May it also include your elevator speech, your elevator pitch. Deb really did a good job encouraging you to work on that as well. So that is just what you would say about Forever and what it means to you and how it's been the solution to your photo needs. Also, follow Lisa's advice and go ahead and map out your event workflow, what your expectations are of how you think that's going to work. And then lastly, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and read blog post number 2, Do You Have a Photo Plan? And these are 2 blog posts that I wrote last year, and many of the people who had events had them printed out there as an educational resource for people who came to the event, that they could take these home and read them at another time. But I'm just asking you to read it just to become a little more educated and well-rounded in the industry and in this place. So there'll be more things that I'll post to you to read, but if you could go ahead and just handle this homework, that would be great. I'll post this on the Facebook group, as well as a couple of the other things that we talked about. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and see what questions that we might have.
All right, thanks, Shelley. We've got a couple of questions of people asking, what's the time frame for these events from start to finish? How much time span do you need to have?
Lisa, do you want to take that one?
Sure, I'll take that one. I think for mine, we did a good 2 hours for that. I might have even done a little bit more, like I said, just to kind of open up those doors for the early birds. But I think 2 hours was a good time offering. Really kind of set your schedule as to how long the presenters are going to speak, so you'll know what additional time that you have. But for me, I think that was a good amount of time. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that long. But that's how much time I gave myself, only because I knew that I was going to need that much time for the event.
But I will say that people stayed around, asked lots of questions, wanted to see more about Forever, wanted to see my Forever account, kept talking. So, recognize that it may go longer with, an excitable crowd like it did for us.
Absolutely. Yeah, give yourself that extra time. If if the library closes at, 9 o'clock, definitely say 8:30 so that you, again, are respectful of their time and they have 15 minutes to kind of mill around and then you can pack up. But I think 2.5 hours would be perfect.
Yep. Thank you, Lisa.
Very good suggestions on that. The other thing, Lisa, I think you can answer is somebody's asking, do you own your own scanning equipment or do you rent for something like this kind of event? What would you suggest to people that are just starting out versus maybe share what you do?
Owning your own scanning equipment is, to me, in my business, is crucial because that's part of what I focus on in my business, the scanning, and having that at the event was really beneficial. You can connect that scanner right to your laptop and all of those photos go right into there. Using a high-speed scanner as opposed to a flatbed is going to be the optimum way to do that. I mean, if you do have a flatbed scanner and you want to use that and you don't want to spend additional money on a high speed, you can, but just know that it's going to take you much greater time to do that and maybe only have a few photos that you want to work with if you're going to do a flatbed scanner. I did do some flatbed scanning, and again, it was not the thing to do with that many people because it just took way too much time. So you can have your flatbed scanner there if you do own a high-speed one, just so they know that that's an additional service that you provide, and then you can always make an appointment. If they do bring photos that are too large, you can be very polite and say, you know what, we're not going to do this here tonight, but I would love to make an appointment with you, because even if you tell people what sizes of photos to bring, you're going to get everything under the sun of what people will bring, because they're not going to, you say 3x5, 4x6, and 5x7 or 8x10, you're going to get the gambit. People are going to bring rip things, and so just be very polite. We're going to just scan these particular types of photos, and that's why it's very important to have somebody that's helping you to go through those photos in the beginning, so that they see what that customer has, so that they're not bringing you everything to the table when it's their turn, so that you kind of cut down on having not the right photos that you want to scan.
Thank you, Lisa. I will just add to that having a scanner, I think, is a very good idea for your business. It's a really good way for you to be able to invest in your business, as Deb Cabral mentioned earlier. Having a scanner is a big draw, and I think that you would find offering some scanning for people would be something that would allow them to see what it looks like right when it's in Forever. It's kind of like that's where the magic comes in. And, if you want to continue scanning, you certainly can do that, but I know Lisa, she does scanning up front in the very beginning, but then she uses Forever Media Conversion, so then she sells them a box for all of their other things. So if you get a scanner, you don't have to feel like you're becoming a scanner, and that's gonna, you don't have to feel like you have to do all of the scanning, but it's a good like way to open the door, to build a relationship, to get a new client, and then when they bring you the massive things, then you can just go right over to order a box for them and keep it really simple like that. However, it works for your business. Maybe you do want to take up scanning, and you can do that as well if you wanted to. But I will say a good friend of Forever is Rick Lippert, who owns a company called Easy Photo Scan, and I would recommend him if you're interested in purchasing a scanner. Tell him Shelley sent ya.
Yes, absolutely. There's a thanks, Shelley. The PS80 is something that I think that they have available now. The PS50 I don't think is no longer available. I do have the PS50, but if you are looking for a high-speed scanner, again, Easy Photo Scan, they're phenomenal. Their staff is amazing, and they will help you through every step of the process. At the event, I did have some scanning, like some little glitches there, and I actually called Rick. He was wonderful to talk me through things, and so they are really the people to go to.
Shelley, can I just add something real quick? It's Deb. I have done events with scanning and without. So for those of you that don't have a scanner or are afraid at this point to invest in a scanner, I had done a few years of Save Your Photos Day without scanning, and it was still really successful. I talked at the end about Forever and gave them information. But last year was my first year that I actually did scanning, and I do have the scanner too from Rick, and his company is great customer service. But what I did is I was speaking, and I had some folks on my team. We had a workflow. They filled out the form, the scanning was done, so that by the time I was done speaking, almost everybody in the room's photos had already been scanned, but we limited it to 10 scans per person, just so that we could get through, the numbers. But don't feel like you can't have an event if you don't own a scanner, because you certainly can.
Great. Those are great points, Deb. Thank you for making that clear. And for also giving a number. I think 10 is a great number. Mm-hmm. And I will say that's exactly how it ended up happening. We had so many people come to Lisa's event that by the time I was finished speaking, she was just wrapping up the scanning. So, extra hands that you had on your team, Deb, is great. Lisa's extra hands are great too. So thank you for adding that. I think we've got one more question.
Yes, one more question. Just how do you get from going back into that sales mode? I know this isn't really a sales event. It's more of an educational event. So how do you avoid falling back into that trap? Shelley, if you can touch on that.
Sure. So I think what Deb said about really setting yourself up as the expert to educate people on the state of their photos and the state of photo preservation. A lot of people don't know the details of cloud storage. They're kind of afraid of cloud storage. They don't recognize that, cloud storage is actually not living in the cloud. It is on a hard server being hosted and protected and taken care of. And it's just transmitted through the cloud. So I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there and a lot of uneducated people on the subject of digital preservation. So they're hungry to hear what you have to say. So, I also have heard from people who feel like, they might be an ambassador, but they're like, we don't want to sell, maybe I'm not a good salesperson. This allows you to just stand up and share what you know, and not have to feel like you're selling anything, but really you are in the end, because you're bringing such value to people. So I would say the way that the slides are designed are educating them. So I don't think that you're going to feel like you're in sales mode. Once you see that presentation that we're going to do during the next training session, I think that's going to answer your question, because right now, before you've done the Save Your Photos Day training, if you were at an event, you probably would just have maybe your trifold brochure or the Forever overview presentation where you are clearly selling. But I think once you get your hands on the presentation and watch me give it during the next training session, you'll recognize that it is going to be a really freeing thing for you to not feel like you're selling, but just educating. So I hope that
Shelley, another quick point which might help. What I did, and I'm not sure if it's going to be in the presentation this year, but what I did is I always talk to them about the free storage that you can get out there, because that's what people will throw at you. Oh, I can go to Google and it's free. And I shared a personal story of a client that I had whose photos were actually uploaded to one of the free services. I won't say which one. And they're a doctor in the area, so wealthy folks, and they also had a summer home down in Florida. And when they went down to Florida, the gentleman got sick and they went to urgent care, and he and his wife's photo was up on the wall. This is a true story of a client of mine. So they were on a service that your photos are not owned by you, and they could sell them as stock photos to other companies. This is a very handsome looking man and a very beautiful wife, and they were on a sailboat, and their photo was up in the urgent care they went to. So when you start telling stories like that, people really want to listen, and then you don't have to sell forever because it's going to sell itself.
You're right, Deb. That's a great example. Thank you for sharing. And I've heard a couple other good examples from you over the years. So these are just things that you can begin recognizing that happened in your life that will become your forever story. So thank you for sharing that example. So another question coming through, and we are going to go ahead and wrap this up, is just how to get directed to the Save Your Photos Safe Facebook page. So I'm going to tell you the name, and you just put it in a search in order to find this group. It's capital SYPD, so those are all capitals, and then lowercase 4, Forever Ambassadors. So if you can find the Facebook group, that will be a great place for you to come to see this additional information. People are asking about Rick Lippert, is Easy Photo Scan. I can put that up in the Facebook group as well. And like I said, we've got some more questions coming through. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this call because we've had you for an hour and I don't want to go over that. But I will go ahead and read through these questions and try to answer them in the Facebook room at some point today. Okay? So thank you for joining us. Thank you for your time, your commitment. I do appreciate all of you very much. And I'm looking forward to hearing how your events are going to be going and what your plans will be. Feel free to share in that Facebook room. And stay tuned for additional information. I'll post the recording there as well, and I will see you next month for the third and final training on the Save Your Photos Day event. Thanks for your time today. Bye-bye. Oh, and thank you, Deb and Lisa, for joining us as well.
Thank
okay.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.